everyone. Welcome to today's live video. We are so happy that you joined us from wherever you are. And if you're joining us on the replay, we are so happy to have you there too. Today we are here with Angelica Lopez from Family Search. So everyone, welcome Angelica with likes, hearts, all that jazz. We are so excited to have her. When I was doing my tech fun with her yesterday, man, I feel like we just jived, right? I feel like we
it really
jived.
worked. I felt like I had known you for like 3 months of my life, and we had like gone out to eat multiple times, and like we were going on vacation. It was great.
I came up and I told my mom, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to go out with this friend, this new friend I made once quarantine is over. We're gonna have to meet up in person.
Okay, post quarantine, hands down.
Heck yeah. Post-quarantine plans. But guys, she has so much fun stuff to share with you. She's just a very charismatic, fun lady. You guys are really going to enjoy this interview. So, Angelica, why don't you start us off by telling us where you're from and what you do?
Okay. So I work at Family Search. I live in South Jordan, Utah, and I absolutely love my job. I am an international marketer for Family Search. I help out with the Homeland initiatives. So basically what my job is, yes, it's super fun. I get to learn about cultures. I get to learn about the history of the world, which is super fascinating to me. And then I get to figure out ways to help people connect with their families through the different backgrounds and cultures that I learn about. So it takes my passion for connecting people and then also for learning about different places of the world all together in one, which is fantastic.
That is perfect.
I love it so much. But when I'm not doing my job, usually you can find me trying to find a good hike to do around my house or spending time with my dog. I've been known at Starbucks as the lady who always brings her dog to get a puppuccino. So anyway,
I didn't know I had those. I'm going to bring my dog now.
It's a real thing.
Wow.
I love it. So,
wow.
Anyway, yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing. Wow, we are really the same person. I love hiking. I love dogs. This is a meant to be friendship.
Seriously, I'm so excited that this opportunity happened, and this is like one of the great things I've discovered. So, anyway.
Oh, great. All right, well, as you know, we've been working on this experiment to help people connect with their families. So could you share with me some ways that you've been able to connect with your family, both past and present, during quarantine?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first of all, I have to say that when I first saw this experiment, I was like, this is exactly what we need right now. We need opportunities and ways for people to learn how connection's still available around them, even though we can't be as close as we used to be physically in person, but we can still create connection that helps us to feel better and cope with in space and honestly even have an overall better experience that we may not have been aware about unless it was for this experience. So I have loved the different prompts and ideas that have come out. And I was reviewing when it came out, I had a couple friends tell me about it. They were like, you have to check this out. It's fantastic. So I looked it up, and as I was scrolling through like the different prompts and ideas for things for people to do, I started thinking about all these past experiences that have led to me having a passion to connecting to my ancestors through family history. And so one thing that's really stuck out to me is old photos during this whole experiment. The other day, I saw this thing with this art museum, how they were recreating old photos, and I know we have something similar along the lines with this.
Yeah.
But what was really cool is that I was like, we have old photos in our family history. So I like went to this like box that my dad gave me with like all these old photos from my family in Mexico. My dad's from Mexico, my mom's in the States. And my dad has always talked about being a bullfighter. I know. And he says that, like, he used to be a bullfighter, and like he would tell us all these stories. And you know how like parents sometimes have like the tendency to tell you how they like walk to school both ways uphill in the snow, like 12 months of the year. So with these type of stories, I was like, yeah, sure, you were a bullfighter. Okay, so I looked through these old photos, and I found so many photos of my dad being a bullfighter. And I was like, what the? Like, it's true. And there's like these pictures of like the cape like flinging over his head, and there's like this massive bull that's charging past him. I'm like, wow, my dad was like 100% like true. Like, yes,
Yeah.
bullfighter. And I remember the one photo that really stuck out to me. There's one of him, like, he has like his bullfighter cape under his arm, and he's looking at the bulls inside of this like fenced area. And so like he was going to jump the fence and go like face one of them.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the photo and being like, just kind of just like clicked naturally. It was like, I'm not a bullfighter, nor will I ever be a bullfighter. But like, and it's a part of my heritage that I didn't really understand or know before. But in that moment, I think I was able to create a connection with him that I know what it's like to want to do something, but be scared, but go and do it anyways. And that was like a really powerful moment for me. And the fun thing, interesting thing about it is that I ended up not recreating a photo. But but I think that's like a really good lesson that I learned, especially as someone who's like trying to figure out ways to motivate people to do their family history. Because I was like, it didn't matter that I didn't recreate the photo, and that it was like, if you looked at it from that perspective, oh, I wasn't successful. Like, I didn't recreate the photo. But I don't think that's what success was. Like, success for me was having that connection and that moment of being like, I know what it's like to want to do something and be scared, but go and do it anyways. And I know that my dad's done it before, so I can do it too. And that's something that's really hit me a couple of times with multiple different experiences I've had with my family tree, is that there are so many people in my tree that I didn't realize that I can gain strength from. So
that's so powerful. And I think that teaches a really valuable lesson about pictures just in general, is as you look at the picture and you're trying to get the story out, also part of that story is how they were feeling, and that's how you're going to connect with them. Like, maybe you're not, like you said, you're not a bullfighter, but you can connect to this other thing that's a huge element of the story. I gotta say though, I think it'd be really great if you recreated the photo but with like your dog instead of the bull, because I don't know where you'd find a bull in these parts.
No, I actually thought about doing that, because we found, in the middle of all this, we found my dad's old bullfighter cape. So don't be surprised if that ends up happening at some point. So.
Yes, I will need you to text me that photo directly.
I'll show you the lunch that we're going to have. So.
Yes, okay, even better. That's wonderful. And you also told me that you guys had a little event to connect more with your heritage for Cinco de Mayo. Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. So my family celebrates Cinco de Mayo, and we do it the traditional old-fashioned way, which is we get together as a family and we eat. And so we had like a bunch of different things. Like, what happens is we like always go to the store together and we buy all the food together. My dad goes and like, this time is a little different for quarantine stuff. Like, only a few of us went. But we like, my dad goes to the counter, he like picks out all the different meats. We go to the bakery, we pick all the different pan de dulce that we want. And then we just kind of go through the lines or the aisles of the store and just see if there's anything that we want. And then we like come home and we cook this huge meal together. And then during that meal, we kind of just sat down, and every time, like without like prompt or anything like that, like my dad starts telling us the story of Cinco de Mayo and how it's not Mexican independence. So everybody out there, it's not Mexican Independence Day. And it's actually like, so it celebrates this battle that happened in my dad's hometown of Puebla. And so I've actually been like to the place where the battle happened. And the reason why it's such a big deal and it's celebrated is because the Native people who were there were such underdogs facing the French army. And so it's a whole story of how you're able to face insurmountable odds and conquer. And so he like always tells us that. We always have this discussion. It's never like, okay, now we're going to hear the story of Cinco de Mayo. But it's like always comes out naturally of like, this is the history of why we celebrate this. And this is why it's important to us as a family. And so it's just something that I've really appreciated, is like always like, my parents have been very good about connecting back to like the why we do things and how it connects to our heritage. And I didn't really notice it before until I started like working like in the genealogical field and being like, okay, this is actually a thing where like my parents, I'm so grateful for, made a conscious effort of just bringing it up. Like, I remember so many times as a teenager, like being like, oh my goodness, not another story about the past, but like they were really good about keeping it really short and simple and being like, this is why we do this and this is how it can help you. So, and as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated that. And I know that like it plays like in the back of my mind, all those stories they've told me when I'm facing different things. I didn't realize that it was like something that really helps me until like I got a little bit older. But anyways,
that's really cool. So that principle that you showed from the picture of like facing insurmountable odds, that's like also something from your heritage. That's really cool. That's like something that's ingrained in you then, because that just keeps going down generations.
Exactly. And I love it. And it helps me like feel a lot more resilient and connected and knowing that like there is strength that comes in my story. That's something that like has really stood out to me recently, especially with right now like quarantine and like trying to like face like unique and challenging times. Like it's really hard some days in different ways for everyone. But I think what I've really come to learn and appreciate during this time, especially as like I've had the opportunity to go back and connect with my own personal family tree, is that every person's family tree has strength in it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's not completely full and you, like, don't know the middle names of all your great-great-grandparents, cousins, and sisters, and that they're all in the tree. Like, I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. But when it comes to, like, gaining strength from it, even if you have holes in your tree, even if you can't go past, like, your parents, the point is that you are made up of people in the past who've survived and made it. And you are proof that they made it. Because if they couldn't have made it, you wouldn't be here. And I think that's such a powerful thought to think that, like, you have a line of people that goes forever back that you can gain strength from every day, and knowing that they were able to push through at some point, so you can push through at some point. Even if you don't know their exact name, there's still strength in knowing that you come from people who were able to make it.
Yes, I love that. And that's the whole point we're trying to make with this experiment. So thank you for saying that.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of that quote, and I know I'll get it wrong, but the gist of it is, you are the result of the love of thousands.
Yeah.
And that's always hit me. I wonder if you can see it, I keep my inventory, wrong way. So,
that's fantastic.
Like, all those people came together to create me.
Yes, exactly. Each part of their lives are like, you are like an investment from their lives. Like, and it's sometimes we like look at like old records or things and we're like, oh, that's a person that lived a long time ago. It's like, no. That's a person who like lived their life, had feelings, had challenges, had struggles. Whether or not they made the best choice and decisions, I know there can be struggles facing your own family tree. But if you look at the overall picture, like, your family tree is a story of strength. So.
Yeah. And I love the words you use, investment. I've never heard that before, but because I think about my parents and how much they invested in me, just like, wow, how many generations have just invested over and over and over. Because they could have quit. They could have given up, but they kept going and they were strong.
Exactly. And you don't have to know their name to know that there was strength there. So even if you have an empty tree, there's still strength that exists there. So.
Yes. Especially when you can learn, like, maybe you don't know much about that person, but you know your heritage, and so you can learn what happened in your homeland and what events they may have lived through. Speaking of homelands, with the work that you do you have any suggestions for our viewers on ways that they can connect with their homelands while they're stuck in their home?
Okay, that, like, I started smiling because I can feel, like, the avalanche of, like, ideas that I'm going to give you.
We love to see it.
Okay, cool. So I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but, like, here are just some suggestions or thoughts or things you can start out with. First, we have a new feature or a new experience that came out. It's under activities in the ribbon bar of Family Search, and it's called Where Am I From? And you can go there and you can look at your family tree through 4 different perspectives. You have to be signed in and have a Family Search account and populate your tree with what you know. And then what it will do, it'll pull up 4 different tabs. It'll pull up generations, which is a map view that shows you like where everyone is at in each generation. It'll show you my family lines, which is like a really sweet like way of like going back through your tree and seeing different people in your family and where they were at on a map. My heritage is like kind of like you can explore the countries that you're from. It'll take the information from your tree and put in the percentage of people that are from like the top main countries there. And it'll give you an option to add a country. So if you know that like it's not showing up but you do have heritage from that place, then you can add in that country. And it'll pull information together to help you learn more about the culture, the different types of foods that people eat, what daily life is like there, so you can kind of have like a virtual vacation to where you're from. So that's like
Perhaps you can go into Wales next week then.
Yeah, I need vacation right now. So,
yeah,
anyway. So there's that option. Also, we have a fantastic family search blog, and it has several different resources that you can connect with. One of them is a hub page. So, and I think we might be sending out the links to these. I'm not sure, but
Carolyn's dropping them in the comments.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you go to like this blog, you type in family search, World Heritage or something along those lines, but you go to that page and it's a page that has all the different homelands that we've highlighted in these different types of like blog hubs where you can click on it and you can learn about that country's tradition, culture, foods. For example, there's like a lot of really great like United Kingdom legends that like you can look at for the UK hub. So there's all these different countries that are highlighted there that you can go look at, and we are adding to it all the time. So there's more countries coming. And then going back to my love of food, while we were creating,
I feel you, girl.
when we were creating these pages, I was like, it would be so great if there was a place that we could take all this information we've had about food and put it all together in one place. So there's also like a food hub where you can go and learn that's connected to all the different recipes that we've collected from these different homelands. So that's kind of like the two big things, the blog and that new experience that I just described. And then also, if you're looking for like simple and short, easy ways to connect, there's a really great article that we put out called Genealogy Made Easy, 16 Ideas Under 20 Minutes. And a lot of those are connected to finding out more about your homelands. So that's like also a really great resource for doing that. Just like it's really simple, easy way for you to like engage with it so you have an enjoyable experiences.
Yeah.
We don't want, I call it brain freeze, like the analogy that I have. But like I don't want to be overwhelmed. Like you need to take it at your own pace. So anyways.
Yeah. Speaking of that analogy, I think that's what we're going to close out with.
Okay.
But first, I'm going to give you guys some preface. Yesterday, Angelica shared the best analogy for family history I've ever heard. It's all about ice cream. And last night, I had some ice cream, and I thought about that the whole time.
Perfect.
So it's going to be a lasting impact of this interview for me. Every time I have ice cream, I'm going to think about family history. So I want other people to have that same thought process. So why don't you share your analogy with us?
Okay, so yes, I think it's been kind of clear that I like food a lot. And so I love ice cream. And I feel like this kind of came together because I just really like having good food and good experiences. And I remember I was thinking, like, how can I make family history for the people that I'm trying to reach through my job, like, be enjoyable? Like, what is enjoyable? And I thought of ice cream, and it just, like, instantly clicked. So think about, like, when you're going out with people and you're, like, driving around, like, oh, someone's like, I need to get food, I'm hungry, and you're like, oh, I don't want anything. But, like, you ending up getting food anyways. Like, the moment you walk in the store or someone pulls through the drive-through, you either get the food or you regret not getting it. So think about, like, you're, like, having this experience and someone's like, let's do family history. Your first reaction might not be, yes! It might be like, oh, great. But all you have to do is just get in the ice cream store. Like, just get in there and being open to willing to try some samples. And, like, everybody goes to the store and tries some samples when they're getting ice cream. So when you get in there, like, just try a ton of different samples. So what I mean by that is try different activities in family history that work for you. Like, there's not one set way to do family history successfully. Like, kind of going back to that story before, like, I never recreated the photo, but I had a connection. And it was impactful enough to me that it still matters to me, and it's relevant to me, and it's important. And so photos for me is like a flavor that I really, really like. For other people, it's looking through the records, finding the next generation in their family tree, finding the missing child from a family, doing that really like awesome, also like very complex work doing family history. But for some people, they love that, and that's fantastic. For other people, it's recording memories or stories. So first identify like what works best for you. And then once you found your favorite flavor, like, enjoy it. Like, take the time to enjoy it. Like, I could have taken that experience I had with my dad's photo and be like, well, that's cool. Okay, let's get the photo done. Like, but like, that wouldn't have been as enjoyable for me as like really like, for me, it was like, oh, I feel something. I feel connected to my father. This is fantastic. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The next thing is then like, okay, now that you've got your flavor and you're enjoying it, you get excited and you want to eat a lot of it, and you want to give it and to like have everybody else taste it. And so sometimes, especially me, I know I've been guilty of this, is that I find a flavor that I'm like, and I'm like, this is fantastic. And then I look to like my brothers, and I'm like, isn't this great? And I just shove like all this stuff at them, like a half gallon of ice cream, and I'm like, eat it. Like, and they get brain freeze. Or I eat too much and I go overboard, and I get brain freeze, and I'm like, like, this is too much. So like, take it at a pace that like you feel comfortable doing, and those people that you're trying to possibly maybe get into doing it with you, help them find their flavor too. And don't give them brain freeze. And that's the thing, is like, no one's experience is going to be exactly the same. Just like how when you go to an ice cream store, not everybody gets the exact same thing and has a great time doing that. So I'll be completely honest. Another reason why this analogy really hit home with me is because I'm actually lactose intolerant. I may or may not sit and think about ice cream a lot, how much I miss it. And I realized, I was like, this is so sad. Like, just because, like, I can't have ice cream the traditional way, like, there's got to be something I can have. Or, in the family history analogy, I don't have a full tree. How can, like, I can't connect. Or, my favorite, my tree's completely full. Like, there's nothing else left to do. It's like, then you've got to figure out what you can do to, like, live your best life. So, for me, with the ice cream, true story, I eat vegan ice cream. I drive 25 minutes once a week to go get it. It's like, people could say it's overpriced and excessive, but the point is that it brings happiness. I feel no regrets. It's an investment in myself, and it improves my life. So
self-care.
Exactly. And I think family history is the exact same thing. Like, it is having that happy, positive, this is the best thing for me moment. And that's honestly what you're looking for. So, like, just be willing to try new things. Let yourself go at your own pace, and those people you might be excited to share it with go at their own pace. And everyone can find that connection. Everyone can find that moment. Everyone can find their favorite flavor. And when you find it, enjoy it. So, anyways.
You guys, isn't that the best analogy? I love when you said, like, just get in the ice cream shop, because no one, well, at least only mobsters, go into an ice cream shop and try something and then just leave. That doesn't happen. You've got to find something that you like. You just try.
Exactly. You just have to try it. And that's the thing. If you would have asked me, like, a couple years ago before I realized I was lactose intolerant, like, would you like vegan ice cream? I'd be like, absolutely not. What is that? Like, that's disgusting. But if I eat regular ice cream, I'm in big trouble. But if I eat this and I enjoy it and I'm open to new things, like, I'm having a happy, positive life. And when I'm eating my vegan ice cream, I'm not thinking about the other ice cream. I'm thinking about how happy I am. And so, anyways, so.
Thank you for that perspective.
You're welcome. From a fellow lactose intolerant, I'm grateful I was able to enlighten all of you.
Yeah. We have a few people in the comments who were like, yes, the analogy's hitting home for them.
Oh,
so,
good.
So
Good,
glad you
good,
shared
good.
it. Hi, Kennedy. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Karen. These are all wonderful people. I'm so glad you guys were able to join. All right. Well, is there any last words you would like to share with our viewers today?
That, I think we've summarized, like, my main points is, like, family history, as long as you have 5 minutes and you're willing to just get in the ice cream store and you have a little bit of desire to try a sample or try a couple, you're going to be successful. It's not pouring through strenuous, difficult, complicated work. It's you deciding what you want to do, investing a little bit of time, and it's going to work out. Like, I think that, like, yes, our ancestors, they lived in very different times. They went through very different experiences. But the strength of their lives, like, or their opportunity that they had to prove that they could make it, like, you're that proof that they could make it.
Oh, your audio went out. Oh, no. I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. Oh, no. Sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to wait a second to see if Angelica's planning to hop back on and close out her thoughts, or if this is the end of the video. So I guess I'll just chat with you for a little bit. I love that analogy. Someone in the comments said, next time I do family history with ward members, I'm bringing ice cream. And you guys, that's a great idea. If you are doing a youth group thing, like, bring the ice cream and then, oh, Angelica's back. Yes, you're back. I was like, oh, I'm gonna, what's it called? Vamp. I'm gonna vamp here.
Anyways, but I was just going to conclude and say, I don't know what happened. That was crazy. But that's the thing, though, is that, like, you just realize that, like, you are proof that, like, you're the strength of your ancestors. And you don't have to have a full tree to do that. And you don't have to spend 5 hours a day every single day to have that connection. You just have to find what works for you. And when you have that connection, it's, like, one of the most rewarding experiences of realizing that, like, you are the living proof that someone could make it. And I think that's real strength in that. Yeah. So when you look in the mirror, you're not just seeing yourself, you're seeing thousands of people who could make it. So, anyways,
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Angelica. Like, wow, this has been a wisdom-packed interview. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I'm 100% serious about the, like, post-quarantine lunch.
Oh, me too.
So yeah, so it was a pleasure. I'm so excited you guys invited me. Thank you so much.
All right, and this is us signing off.